Good day, everyone, and welcome back for another edition of DSN Classic Conversation. Kurt Ashcraft here with you, joined by a familiar face with a new title, Denison head men's basketball coach Chris Sullivan. How are you doing today, Chris? How's the new chair treating you?
It's pretty good. Still getting adjusted, but yeah, really enjoying it, Kurt. I'm excited to take a trip down memory lane with you.
Same here. I also know this has been a less than normal fall for you guys leading into the winter, as it would normally be right around this time you'd be getting amped up for your first game of the season, but that hasn't been the case. How has things been with your team?
You know, honestly, it's been really good. Just an opportunity for us to focus inward and just keep moving our program without some of the stresses that can come with scrimmages and games and playing time. And all that stuff. So we're just focused on getting a little bit better every day. And fortunately, Denison's done such a good job to allow us to do that. So I think we were able to take a couple steps forward.
Well, I know you mentioned that we were going to be taking a trip down memory lane, and so we're just going to talk about that. We're going to turn back the clock actually today to not really that long ago, but long enough ago to be a different season. February 22nd, 2020, your Denison Big Red men's basketball team was rounding out the regular season on Senior Day and Alumni Day, and you welcomed the Ohio Wesleyan Battling Bishops to the gym. And to put it lightly, you were on fire. You won 96-81 to round out the regular season with a win over the Bishops, and you hit 17 three-pointers that day, Chris. When you walked in the gym that day, did you feel like something was just different?
You know, so Kurt, you mentioned that was Senior Day and also our Alumni Day as well. And probably nobody knew it at the time, but it was also Coach Gallone's last home game in Livingston Gym. So just a ton of good energy in the gym. And yeah, I couldn't say I could have called it ahead of time, but yeah, we got off to a good start and never slowed down.
Well, we're actually just going to go right back to that moment as we set the stage for everyone watching at home. You knew with a win over Ohio Wesleyan, that would put you in a good position to have the number 7 seed in the NCAC men's basketball tournament the following week. That would avoid a trip to Wittenberg in the opening round, something we all know you wanted to do. What was the emphasis that you and Bob put on the guys that day to win that game?
You know, less about winning, Kurt, and more about just keeping the momentum going. You know, we had a slow start to the season overall, but second half of the year, we really just kind of started to really click and more than anything, play together both offensively and defensively. So I think we settled into some roles individually, and that brought the best out of the whole group. And so we were just focused on just another game, continuing to get better. And, you know, whatever seed happens. But, yeah, I'd be lying if in the back of our mind we didn't like that Wabash matchup.
100%. And as I can understand why you did, you ended up winning that game and then moving on to the semifinals. Well, we're just going to go ahead and press play, and here we go. We're going to go back to that moment, February 22nd, 2020, Denison, Ohio Wesleyan, Senior Day at Livingston Gymnasium. So as you can see, just starting first possession of the game for you guys, and Freeman doing a little unorthodox of what he normally does, and he hit from 3.
I think that speaks to just the energy in the gym that day when you can get kind of a bonus 3, late shot clock right there. Yeah, you know it's going to be a good day.
And then one other thing outside of that opening 3, you guys did a lot of attacking the basket through the first few possessions of the game, especially with Freeman Brew. What made him such an unstoppable force during those final 2 months of the season?
You know, I think, again, he's one of those guys who really grew individually throughout the year. And, you know, he found his role, and we realized how important he is just to the whole shape of the offense. And as you can see, I think the Brew brothers combined for maybe our first 7 or 9 points there. And just the way those two balanced each other, attacking inside and, again, getting a couple bonus shots from the outside is a good start for us.
Another couple of bonus shots you had was from long range. Kevin Chang getting started there, and then a missed shot from the Bishops, rebound to Connor Fenton, and once again, Chang looking to set up from outside the arc.
Yeah, and again, with this day, as well as we shot it, I think we shared the ball equally as well, and you'll notice almost all these threes are catch and shoots, and that's something we're really looking for as Jack runs the wing here. So many of those that's what we look for a ton in transition and in the half court, is to share the basketball and set each other up for easy shots.
Again, you just continued to move the ball extremely well, and the one thing is that as you continue to dive, as you continue to attack the basket, that opened up the shot from long range, and that continued to work for you that day.
Yeah, and then just as you mentioned, the long range, we go right back inside to Freeman, and it's just constantly balancing the inside attack with the offensive attack. And when both are clicking on the same night, with our individual talent, we feel like we can be really tough to guard, and we absolutely were on this night, as we go right back to the outside with Nate Howler, who lit it up that afternoon.
5 for 5 that day was Nate Howler. He could not be stopped, as we've got every single one of his threes in this highlight video, ladies and gentlemen, and we could have used a few more. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. No, Nate was a guy who just put so much work into his own game and into the program. I can think of very few people who have earned or deserved a better senior night performance than Nate Howler.
Well, this leads us into what is one of the final possessions of the first half, as we see Chang once again moving the ball to Brew. At this point, the way your team's playing, are you just enjoying this, or are you still kind of in game plan mode?
You know, I think still very much in game plan mode. As you can see, we put a lot on the offensive end, put a lot of points up, but it's not like we were totally shutting down Ohio Wesleyan. They still had a pretty good offensive day themselves. So at this point, we're mostly focused on the defensive end and making some adjustments. But when you can start the half with Freeman's 3 and then finish the half with Connor's 3 right there, you know, that's when you know you got a little extra something on your side that afternoon.
Well, you shot an incredible 65% from the field in the first half, but you stayed just as hot to start the second half. You had the layup from Freeman and then the steal from Matt Garrix, who immediately started pushing the ball across the timeline and setting up a big 3 here for Nate Howler.
Yeah, yet again, Nate just coming off, you know, feeling really, really good. And that's one thing we try to do a ton of, especially with guys who demonstrated they can really shoot it, is if you're in range and in rhythm, just let that thing fly.
And a nice hustle play from Howler to get the possession Denison's way, and then he turns it into 3 on the other end. Could he be stopped? Like, seriously, he was just so incredible that day.
Yeah, when we did, there's like maybe his last one, and yeah, when you've got a guy like that, just everybody rallies around him and his ability, and again, what he deserved in going off that afternoon. It was just so much fun to watch him take advantage of it.
One thing that kind of got overshadowed a little bit because of the 3-point efficiency was your ability to move the ball around, your exceptional passing, as you had 28 assists on 35 field goals that day. Was that something that you had noticed early on and that you were just going to continue to press?
Yeah, that's something, Kirk, that we stress a ton every single day. You know, we've been really proud to lead the NCAC in assists over the last 5 years. So a stat that we harp on a ton, and you know, again, when that inside attack and outside attack is really balanced together, that sets up for guys taking and obviously making some pretty easy assisted field goals.
And again, just watching a senior and Matt Garrix continue to move the ball around and find anybody outside the 3-point line. This time it was Freeman Brew to just continue to add points. And you just continue to step away and pull yourself away from the Bishops here, as it was a nice find from Will Hunter to Connor Fenton and a nice finish at the rim in the end one.
Yeah, again, just a good balanced attack. We got the ball moving side to side, really shared it well, which spreads out the defense. And then Will, probably one of our best drivers, just found his spot to attack and set up Connor for a nice little and one off the bounce.
And why not one more 3-pointer for the senior Jack Coulter, who had a tremendous game as well, as you pulled away on this one with the win, 96-81. The one thing was such a huge win for tournament implications, as we had talked about. It had to mean that much more for you and your seniors who played their last game at Livingston that day. How proud of them were you to see how far they had come in their 4 years here on the Hill?
You know, yeah, they that group worked as hard as any group we've had, and all had little differing paths to that senior night. But for all of them to come together on the same night and go out with a win in front of their alumni. Give one to Coach G. Again, they didn't know it at the time, but give him such an awesome memory to take with him, and set up what'll eventually be a pretty solid tournament run to get those seniors back to the NCAC Final Four for 3 out of their 4 years. I think that's a huge accomplishment for those seniors to take with them as they keep moving forward.
Like you mentioned, this ended up being the last home game that Bob Galoni would coach at Denison following his retirement after 18 seasons as the head coach here in Denison. What are some of the biggest lessons that you learned from your time with Bob, and what are some of the best memories of your 9 years together?
Man, I could talk for an hour here with you, Kurt. Just because, I was with him, right, for 9 years, and I could not have asked for a better mentor to work with. Just taught me so much about the game, about coaching and dealing with young men, and more than anything, Kurt, just about life in general. I joke with my wife that she and I have been together 10 years now, and I've probably spent more time in person with Bob. Funny as that sounds, but man, we connected on so many different levels, and again, the way he mentored me. If I can provide that for, any young assistant who comes to work for me or more than that, any of our guys, if I can do half as good of a job with that, I know I'll be successful here.
Well, Coach, I hope you enjoyed going down memory lane and spending some time watching this as much as we did. And we here at DSN wish you guys nothing but the best throughout the rest of the fall and into the winter, and hopefully with some competition come the new year. So we wish you nothing but the best, Coach, and congratulations on the new position.
Thanks a lot, Kurt. This was fun.
You're so welcome. And again, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time on DSN Classic Conversation.